Hello everyone, welcome to the Social Club. James Clark joins me. First topic of the week, we're going to go with best buy of the transfer window so far, because honestly, as much as I like you, and I don't mind Aston Villa, I'm not sure our audience are ready for a video entirely dedicated to Aston Villa's transfer business.
No, you got the Villa V for that if you fancy it.
Absolutely. Is it as simple as picking one of the big guys so far, you know, the Lukaku's or Lacazette's, or do you reckon it goes a bit deeper than that?
I think if you look at the big guys, you get the headlines, you get the things that pop up in Daily Mail, all that kind of stuff. We get the headlines essentially. But I think the best way to look at it is looking at the bigger picture and looking at where the team was in a result to where they are now with the signing. So, I mean, one standout for me, although it isn't Premier League, Leonardo Bonucci for AC Milan. Yeah. Absolute mad thing. Like, how's that happening? Yeah,
I know. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, the fact that, if nothing else, going from the best club in Italy to, you know, AC Milan, an amazing football club. But for that kind of fee, it's like, it's only like 30-odd million quid for a guy of his age as well. Only in Italy. Only in Italy can something like that happen, and AC Milan are all of a sudden like
top dogs.
Well, there's been no money in Italy for years, has there? And all of a sudden they're going around flashing the cash. You know, I did a video on my channel this week about no one's winning the window, because you can't win the window because it's not a thing. No. But like, if there was a team, AC Milan are probably the best competitors for it, apart from Fabio Borini.
Well, I think I'd agree with your sentiment, to be fair, because AC are winning it. But if we're thinking from a more Premier League...
No, they're not winning it because you can't win it.
Well, they're looking like they're decent.
They're doing good business.
Yeah, they're doing good business. But for me, the way I think about transfer windows is you're kind of trying to add quality here and there, and you want value out of that as well. And for me, if you're looking at it from my point of view, I think the best would probably be Salah, one of the best signings so far, Salah. Because if you think about how bad Liverpool were during the time when Mane wasn't at the club. Yeah. In the January period at the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, and the end of the season, he got injured in the derby as well, and we weren't the same after.
He'll be something for you guys.
So I wouldn't necessarily have thrown him straight out there. You know, hubris. I'm sure I got nailed in the comments for that. But you know, I agree to the point as, no one would have said that Liverpool goal scoring was Liverpool's issue based on last season. So when you look at the business, I think what you're kind of saying at the start of the show is, you look and say, who's got gaps in their squad that need filling, who's filled those gaps. Like Man United, good example of that. You know, they've left a Zlatan-shaped hole in terms of goals. You fill it with Lukaku, a younger lad, more pace, you know, could offer a different dimension to how they play.
And you shove someone off in the other direction that you don't necessarily really need.
Exactly, Wayne Rooney, that's 300 grand off the books, etc. But for me, the Salah thing, you wouldn't have said that was necessarily something that Liverpool needed to do, but you're dead right from a Liverpool perspective. Mane was so vital to how we played. Now, we played a pre-season game against Wigan, we only drew it 1-1, but it was the first time we've been able to replicate what we did with Mane without Mane in the team. You just got a guy with pace to burn down the flanks, and that's something Liverpool have been sorely lacking. And maybe it's not like it doesn't stand out in the same way. Maybe, and you know, you could say like if Liverpool were to get Van Dijk over the line and solve defensive issues, that's the kind of thing that's more likely to win Liverpool a title. Is to stop conceding stupid goals. But as I say, you know, for in terms of being able to play your brand of football in more games, could be a big thing for Liverpool.
I think the thing also is that in this kind of like environment with transfers, what you don't want to be doing, especially if you, like Liverpool, working to a budget, you don't want to be splashing millions unless you've got the money that Man City do, or else you'll get sussed out completely and you'll get inflated prices. And you've got to have some kind of bargaining power in that kind of negotiation, or else you're just screwed. So I think Liverpool are going about it in a really, really nice way. City is just, from like a complete football manager geek that I used to be and still kind of delve into, I just love watching City just signing players. It's like, I've never heard of you, but I can go on YouTube, tap it in. It's like, fantastic, you look sick. Like, this is great to watch. And like, you can kind of get excited about these like young Brazilian lads they're bringing in and that kind of thing. And I think on that point, Kyle Walker, he's going to be bob on.
You really think? Yeah. Like Gary Lineker didn't seem convinced on Twitter.
The way I think about it, I mean, addressing what Gary Lineker said.
Just to clarify. Gary Lineker basically said, imagine how much it costs if he could cross, effectively.
Thing is that if you get Kyle Walker an hour and a half, 2 hours after training every day, pumping in crosses and get someone on the end of it, after a while, he's going to pick it up. But what Pep's looking for is someone he can mould and run down the flanks in a quick pace, and also pass the ball, which is vitally important to him. And that's all Kyle Walker
pretty
is.
important in football in general.
Completely.
But yeah. But yeah, no,
you know what I mean? That's what they need. 80% pass percentage ratio last season.
Yeah. I wonder whether there's maybe something that goes under the radar. You really know. I mean, we've discussed this on a few platforms that people looked at Man United's business last season and looked at like Pogba and Ibrahimovic, and listen, you know, albeit at, like 6th in the Premier League, but you know, taking over the Europa League and the League Cup. 2 good pieces of silverware guaranteeing Champions League football. Because I think everyone expected, let's say Pogba as an example, he had a good season. Yeah, he did. He had a good season, but I think people expected something just unbelievable. He expected him to be the best player in the league.
You expected him to do that blooming volley he did, that swerved in the top corner like 16 times over.
Exactly. And sometimes it's often the players who you know, coming for a little bit less are the ones that have got, well, they've got more room to manoeuvre, they've got far less pressure on them to succeed. So it wouldn't shock me if all the attention's on the Romelu Lukaku's and the Lacazettes and maybe the Salahs and you know, could well be the Naby Keitas, etc. of this world in the coming weeks. It wouldn't shock me to see someone else, and that player might not have even moved yet, or might not have emerged yet to be. But for me, the Lacazette thing for me, for Arsenal, because somebody had to take a punt on him eventually, and whether it's just, you know, maybe he has something to prove with regards to the Premier League, and for me that maybe has to be a reason why he's not had that big move prior to now. Look, he was going to Atletico, bar the transfer ban. This was going to be his summer one way or the other. Got his first goal for the club in his first pre-season game for Arsenal, which I think is a big deal. But the guy's goal scoring ratio is absolutely ridiculous, and he's got that ability to be one of the top centre forwards in world footy, and he could do that. You know, this time next year we could be talking about a season where he scores 30 odd goals in his debut season, and you know,
he shipped off the Barcelona.
But you know, but that for me could be like Lukaku. I don't know. Lukaku could get better. He could get loads, but if he can hold the ball up a bit better, if he gets a bit more physical, maybe improves his touch a bit, which he's got years on his side. He could be that, but Lacazette has got all the makings of what we're talking about. You know, he's coming from abroad. He's got the big price tag, but everyone kind of knows who he is without having really seen him play. Kind of like what Torres was when Liverpool brought him in, albeit a couple of years younger.
I think Lacazette would be brilliant for Arsenal. I mean, when was the last time you can remember a goal scorer other than Robin van Persie who would score 20 goals in and out in a season from a number 9 position? It was probably Robin van Persie.
I mean, Harry Kane.
Arsenal player, yeah. You know what I mean?
He was an Arsenal player, wasn't he?
See what he did there. See what he did. But
no.
That he's like the only number. I've been saying for a while that they need a blooming number 9 Arsenal do if they want to win the league. If they want to get to where they want to be. And they've done that now. Arsene Wenger's finally woke up after about 2 years. And I kind of feel like everyone's forgot about that transfer in a way because it happened so early. And then everyone just thinks Arsenal's just that team now. That's just they're in Arsenal fourth, stuff, aren't they? They're always in fourth.
The Arsenal stuff's being clouded, I think, by Alexis Sanchez a bit, isn't it? And I think how successful Arsenal and in fact Arsenal's season will be dependent upon. You keep him, Alexis plus Lacazette with Ozil providing the ammunition. That's as good a 3 from 4 as you're likely to get. You know?
See, when they signed Lacazette Arsenal today, I was thinking in my head, that's like all green light to Alexis Sanchez going by Munich.
It does have that vibe to it.
Yeah, and then James Rodriguez went to Bayern Munich, and I was thinking, hey up, this couldn't be all it's set up to. And if Wenger signed Lacazette, maybe a few depth signings here and there, and kept hold of Sanchez and Ozil, I think he could be onto a big one. Yeah. Especially Champions League football. That just seems to like be how you win the league these days.
Well, the thing is though, it's no Champions League football, but Europa League football, which is its own stresses, of course. But I think a couple of mentions I've got to go to. We sat down with the lads from Toffee TV last week, did a half-an-hour special on the rise, fall and rise again, almost of Wayne Rooney, and fascinating stuff. Like I didn't really have a great depth of feeling one way or the other on it. Like needless to say, I have no great love for Wayne Rooney, of course, but it was very, very heartening to hear the heartwarming tale of his return and what have you. But he could prove to be, Wayne Rooney on a free. Now everyone says he's done and dusted, his legs have gone, where's his motivation, etc., etc. Still quality of foot. He scored an absolute weldy on his re-debut last week. Again, you can check out the Toffee TV lads reacting to that.
It was a good strike. It was a good strike.
So Wayne Rooney could prove to be one of those. Well, I don't, not necessarily in a 30 goals and 15 assists or whatever kind of way, but for a free transfer for a guy of that quality, could well be.
I mean, when I think of Everton, I can't really no one other than Tim Howard. In a very lesser sense, in years gone by, I can't really think of like a legend, that kind of poster boy of Everton. Tim Cahill was back in the day,
Tim Cahill, absolutely.
And even if he doesn't really deliver, on the pitch as much as he has in previous seasons, even if he's a part of it and he's the poster boy and he can motivate people around him and he can really put in the kind of what he was raised in the Everton system into a lot of these new players now. Like, they've spent a ton of money, Everton have. If he can instill this into the dressing room, and he can also stand up as like a leader to a lot of these players coming in who think they can go out on a night out in Liverpool whenever they want, then you're laughing.
This is Wayne Shiggies and Bevies Rooney, by the way. Maybe if he just doesn't tell them he does all that stuff, but no, you're right. You're right. If nothing else, but you're right. He's a top quality footballer and he's formally world class. Having that level of experience and whatever he does have a potentially positive influence.
Can you imagine Jordan Pickford having a tough time, and not only probably have a tough time at the beginning of the season, I predict. Probably. Can you imagine him having a tough time and going to Wayne Rooney, like, look, mate, I need some support here. And then if Wayne Rooney's not enough, Ronald Koeman
just offers him so many airs and and he's just like, okay, that's exactly what I needed.
And then, you know what I mean? Like, that's
having that experience, because that's the thing. Everton have spent really well. They brought some really good players in, but having that guy you can turn to in those pressure situations, people disrespect, I think, Gareth Barry a lot. But Gareth Barry's is a top quality professional.
Great academy.
He's been everywhere. He's played. The reason he's going to break the Premier League appearance record because he's at a good level as well, consistently throughout that. They've had that to turn to, but he's he's well past his best at this point. Yeah, it could be a good thing. But plenty of suggestions, I think, and keep them coming in the comments below. Who do you think has been the best buy of the window so far? Apologies if we've missed any out. There have been a fair number at this point. Still to come this week, I'm sitting down with Omar from Citizens TV to discuss Manchester City's transfers, ins and outs, and what they need to do. And James and I will also be discussing whether £50 million is the new £20 million in this mental transfer market. Subscribe, watch, enjoy.